From our Chicago studios, this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I'm Samana, Siddiqui. Our top story tonight, shopping for the Al-Fitr holiday is in full swing in the U.S. and across the world. Muslims will begin celebrating starting Friday. Al-Fitr marks the end of Ramadan and is one of the two biggest Islamic holidays. Muslims typically dress up, enjoy time with family and friends, cook special dishes, and organize festive gatherings. In the UAE and Saudi Arabia, nearly one-third of Eid shoppers plan their festive gift buying 1 week in advance, according to a YouGov survey. 27% plan 2 to 3 days before. In the Pakistani cities of Islamabad and Rawalpindi, there is a huge rush of people in all markets and bazaars. In the U.S., some places like Devon Avenue in Chicago are hosting special bazaars and sales for the occasion. In related news, some parents in Michigan are forming a Muslim Parents Council. Their first project is working on submitting an official petition asking the Plymouth Canton Community School System to declare Eid al-Fitr a school holiday. A 2021 study by the Pew Research Center found there are about 3.85 million Muslims in the U.S. That is slightly more than 1% of the population. Of that number, about 1.35 million are school-aged children. Most school districts nationwide have historically maintained calendars that only recognize Christian holidays, mainly Christmas and Easter. Some districts with large Jewish populations also mark Jewish holidays. Artist Harut Bastagian has painted 42 domes and half-domes, including the one in North America's largest mosque, Dearborn, Michigan's Islamic Center of America. Bastagian, an Armenian Christian from Lebanon, is a specialist in Islamic art. The mosque's founding members reached out to him while still in debt from the House of Worship's construction. Bringing the dome to life would cost about $200,000 in total. Ali Faiz, a founding member of the Islamic Center of America, said he never imagined Bastagian would offer to do the months-long project for free. The artist told WXYZ Detroit that it was a way to give back as thanks for life's blessings. For this Muslim community, the act of kindness from a Christian artist was overwhelming. Bastagian returned to Lebanon, but 12 years later, he fell on hard times. With Lebanon in political and economic turmoil, the artist could not send his children to school. That's when Islamic Center of America members helped give Bastagian the chance to rebuild in the same mosque built in part on his generosity. This time, they insisted on him being paid for his work. For his part, Bastagian says he is immensely grateful for a second chapter. Muslims are not allowed to take out loans that generate interest because of the inequity it leads to, favoring the lender over the borrower. But through a new partnership, a South Burlington, Vermont credit union is the first institution in the state to offer an alternative. The North Country Federal Credit Union rolled out what they're calling Halal loans, which range from $500 to $4,000. Recipients pay an upfront fee equal to what they would have paid in interest. The credit union created the Halal loan program in partnership with the Islamic Society of Vermont to create more banking opportunities for Muslims. A Clay County, Missouri prosecutor has charged an 84-year-old man in the shooting of a 16-year-old who went to the wrong address to pick up his siblings last week. Zachary Thompson announced that Andrew Lester has been charged with first-degree assault and armed criminal action. A warrant has been issued for Lester's arrest, and his bond has been set at $200,000. Kansas City police said just before 10 p.m. on April 13th, teenager Ralph Jarl meant to go to a home on Northeast 115th Terrace when he mistakenly went to a house on Northeast 115th Street. Lester shot Jarl in the head after the teenager rang his doorbell, thinking it was a home where he had to pick up his siblings. Jarl remains in hospital but is in stable condition. Missouri has a stand your ground law that allows people to respond to threats or force without fear of criminal prosecution in any place where a person has a right to be, such as their own home. A diplomat from the former Afghan government has found himself in charge of his country's mission to the UN in New York, despite the Taliban's objections. This was after Afghanistan's ambassador resigned following the August 2021 Taliban takeover of the country. Nasir Faiq was serving as political coordinator in the once large mission with 16 diplomats and local staff. That has been downsized to 4 people, including Faiq, its charge d'affaires. Taliban leaders have been trying to put their representative in the country's seat at the UN. We're bringing more news stories after the break, so stay tuned, and we'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back. Pakistani police have taken a Chinese national into custody after he disrupted Pakistani workers offering prayer, an official said on Monday. The Chinese national is an engineer working at a hydropower project in the remote Kohistan district of northern Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. He was taken into custody on Sunday night. A case has been registered against the accused, identified only by his surname, Tian, and further investigations are underway. According to the official police complaint, the Chinese supervisor tried to push his local staff while they were collectively offering afternoon prayers at the worksite to speed up the pace of work instead. The complaint said he repeatedly made insulting remarks and derogatory gestures to disparage Allah and Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. The alleged blasphemy led to protests as thousands of angry demonstrators blocked the Karakoram highway, which connects Pakistan and China, for hours. They only called off their protests early Monday after the Chinese engineer was taken into custody. A Muslim woman in Austria who was pressured to remove her hijab has been awarded over $2,000 in damages. The woman had wanted to gain further qualifications and complete training as a child group supervisor with a Viennese provider. During the application process, she was repeatedly asked about her headscarf in a discriminatory manner, according to the litigation association, which legally represented her in court. They said she was also urged to take it off. In a press release, the group said that the court found discrimination on the basis of gender and religion under the Austrian Equal Treatment Act. Repeated intrusive questions about the headscarf have no place in a job application process. The court makes it clear that this can constitute prohibited discrimination on the basis of gender and religion, said a statement from Teresa Hammer, head of legal enforcement for the Litigation Association. According to Sandra Konstatsky, head of the Austrian Ombud for Equal Treatment, 74% of the inquiries she handles relating to religious discrimination involve Muslims. 90% relate to experiences of discrimination by Muslim women. Discrimination against Muslims in France stems from colonialism, according to a French political scientist. François Bourgat is the research head at the French National Center for Scientific Research. He told Andalou Agency how the Orientalist discourse in recent years in France has affected how Arabs are perceived, thereby leading to discrimination against Muslims. He said the Orientalist perspective is widely used by the West, as well as authoritarian leaders in other countries, including Israel. Bourgat argued that Orientalism and Islamophobia are tightly related, rejecting the other stems from not knowing them. He said increasing the visibility of Muslims and opening Islamic centers in European capitals can contribute positively to build contact with the public. Bourgat said anti-immigrant or Islamophobic discourse is much stronger in regions where immigrants and Muslims are less present. He added that a person does not hate or fear illogically someone they meet every day. That is why the presence of uniting Muslim actors is a positive element. The Saudi-led coalition in Yemen has released 104 Houthi prisoners. This was on Monday, a day after the Yemeni government and Houthi rebels completed the exchange of nearly 900 prisoners. The release was done in coordination with the International Committee of the Red Cross. Coalition spokesman Turki Al-Malki said in a statement that the move aims to support efforts aimed at stabilizing the truce in war-torn Yemen. He said it is also to create a favorable atmosphere for dialogue between the Yemeni parties. Yemen has been engulfed by violence and instability since 2014, when Iranian-aligned Houthi rebels captured much of the country, including the capital, Sana'a. Iran has formally invited Saudi King Mohammed bin Salman to visit its capital, Tehran. The move follows a reconciliation agreement reached last month between the two sides. Saudi Arabia severed relations with Iran in 2016. This was after its embassy in Tehran and consulate in Mashhad were attacked during protests over Riyadh's execution of Shia cleric Nimr al-Nimr. The two countries had held several rounds of dialogue before reaching the agreement to reconcile on March 10th in China. Before we end today's news, I'd like to make a special request. It takes our team a combined 55 hours of work daily to produce this news for you. It is news with a unique perspective, and you will find it only here. Sound Vision is a not-for-profit organization which produces it, and just like PBS and NPR, it depends on your donations. Please visit MuslimNetwork.tv to donate now, or click on the link below to donate. Thank you. That's all from our Chicago studios tonight. Thank you for tuning in. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon for the latest updates. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV or visit MuslimNetwork.tv. Salam and good night.